Hi again. Welcome to Off the Cuff Reviews with me, Jules Brown. Today I am reviewing an absolute classic album. Back there, it's the Neu! Debut, which was called Neu! Exclamation mark. Neu! Were Michael Rother and Klaus Dinger, who were originally in an early incarnation of Kraftwerk. They left them before Kraftwerk I was going to say, got more commercially viable or successful, and set up the project Neu! This album was recorded in December 1971 over 4 nights and released in early 1972. It starts with a track called Halagalo. Apologies for any of my bad pronunciations on this record. Obviously, I'm not German, so I might get some of those expressions wrong. So I apologize for that. But it starts with this great track, which has got a motoric beat, fast, relentless bass drum, rhythmic, these sort of individualistic, singular struck wah-wah chords. So just making noises going like that, being in one channel and more of a lead guitar in the other channel. Very atmospheric, full of layers, different layers of guitars. It's incredible, really, because they get away with not having to use many synthesizers. I'm not sure if there's any synthesizers as such, but most of it is sounds are created by guitars or some slightly strange, and there are some slightly strange instruments in there as well. But most of the layers of atmospherics are created by Michael Rother's guitars, which is quite incredible, really. Comes to this crescendo towards the end of the first song with double time snare drum and some backwards sounding guitar for a little while. Good way to start the album. The second track is even more atmospheric, really, in that it doesn't have any. It's not a rhythmic track. It's called Sonderangebot. It's quite quiet, atmospheric start to the song, which continues throughout the number. Got some sort of false starts and stops in there, which keeps you on your toes, and some ticks, sounding like ticks going off. I don't think they're scratches on the record anyway. Flanged effects, phased effects, lots of textures, and extraordinary noises. I suppose the effects in those days were quite limited, but flange and phaser seem to be the prominent noises. Track number 3 is a track called Wysseni, or White Lake, is the meaning. This is minimal sounding, slow pace set by the drums. Cymbals are crashing, spaced out in every sense of the expression, really. Very varying guitar styles by Michael Rother. Again, really knows how to lend himself to these pieces of music. He understands, I think, the space in the music, doesn't play all over it, just plays what's needed, which is acknowledged by Michael Rother. Just great guitar playing in this track. That inside one, side 2, starts with a track called I'm Imagluck. It's just got an aqua feel with the sound of a boat and oars on a boat and voices, maybe children's voices. Then a menacing drone all of a sudden, a boat on the water sound, and that disappears and then reappears fleetingly. There's a high-pitched tones in this, which sort of sound like seagulls. I don't think they are seagulls. I'm not sure if they're supposed to sound like seagulls, but that's what it adds to the sort of aqua feel. And then we get a guitar come in halfway through, sort of trying, sort of starting to set more of a structure. The seagulls return. All the while, this drone continues throughout the piece of music. Another interesting atmospheric song or piece. Track number 2 on side 2, Negative Land, which is probably the most well-known track on the album. This has got several different parts to it, an immense track. It starts with a huge, great pneumatic drill noise at the beginning, really high in the mix. Screeching guitars, phased guitars, motoric drum rhythm, which varies throughout the song, where you have there's about 3 or 4 different parts to it, all very exciting, with this crazy screeching, screaming guitar, which I reckon Mr. David Bowie may have influenced him. I'm thinking Diamond Dogs and some of those screeching guitars on that album, which I think David plays himself, actually, some of them. Yeah. I suppose where art meets music. This is high art as far as music's concerned, as pop music. Pop meets avant-garde, meets prog, if you like. The guitars just sound like they're played through filters all the time here, and phaser and flanger are prominent. Crash cymbals. The drums stop, and then there's a little quick fade in where everything starts up again and it gets going again, and then it stops again, and then it just builds up into this amazing crescendo. You wonder how much of it is improvised. There is a structure, but it's quite loose, and but for them to record it all, the whole album, in 4 nights is creditable. It's fantastic. And then the last song on the album is called Lieber Honig, which means apparently dear honey, or preferably honey. This is a really atmospheric, kind of menacing but interesting track, with the quiet feel throughout, but starts with a lone pluck guitar, up front falsetto vocal, quite naively done, barely reaching the notes. It's so close, the voice is so close to the microphone that you can hear the person breathing, and quite perturbing. Again, the aqua noises return on the boat, the sounds of the oars on a boat return, and children's voices down there in the mix. And then it's reduced towards the end to echoes and reverb, like it sounds like it's cavernous or recorded in a cave. A really interesting last track, actually, quite challenging. The whole album is challenging, but it ends on a really challenging note. So I think because of the fact that I have been challenged, not the first time I've heard this album, I became aware of Neu. I started to listen to Neu in the 1990s. Before that, I'd listened to discovered Can before that in the 80s. A friend of mine, going by the name of Mark, hello Mark, if you're listening, who lives in the north of London, introduced me to Neu after I told him I liked a bit of Can, and there was no turning back. So the first time I would have heard this album, the debut album by Neu, I would imagine was around 1991, something like that, 2, perhaps, I don't know. But anyway, listening to it again today, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, because whilst it's not my most favorite album of all time, it's not the kind of music you want to listen to on New Year's Eve, for instance, but it's challenging. I've got a lot of respect for it, and it's just an amazing piece of art, really. And there goes my review of the debut album by Neu!, released in 1972. I'm Jules Brown. If you'd like to log on, or I should say sign on to my stream, then do so by pushing the log on. That's you know what to do, and I'll be pleased to have you on board. Sorry about the stumbling at the end here. I've got rather hot in here. Anyway, thanks for listening again, and log on again soon. Well, hopefully I'll be a bit more together. Thank you.